We're live now. Hello and good morning from Melbourne, Australia. My name is Harsiddhi Pancholi. I am the founder of MpowerU Wellness, and I'm the emotion code and the body code practitioner here in Melbourne. I'm so grateful and excited to have Dr. Bradley Nelson and Jean Nelson joining me today for this interview. I want to share my deepest gratitude with you both. It's been an amazing journey for me since I've learned the emotion code and the body code. I've literally transformed my own life since last 4 years. The cutting edge healing modality that you teach to individuals through a very simple self-study course online. It's just amazing how you can reach so many people around the world. And I'm so grateful for you to spread this around in the world. For those of you who don't know Dr. Brad, he is a veteran holistic chiropractic physician and one of the world's foremost experts on natural methods of achieving wellness. He's also the author of the best-selling book, The Emotion Code, How to Release Your Trapped Emotion for Abundant Health, Love, and Happiness, and the creator of the Body Code System. He's also the CEO and the president at Discover Healing, and he's among global luminaries featured in Emotion on Gaia. It's a documentary on how emotions affect our health. Jean Nelson, we have the lovely Jean here. She is wife of Dr. Brad and vice president at Discover Healing. Jean, along with Dr. Brad, is on the mission to help others discover how to heal and grow business for themselves with the emotion code and the body code. And I'm so happy and thrilled to say, Dr. Brad and Jean, that after 14 years of being a clinical research professional, I have now quit my job last November and I'm a full-time body code practitioner.
Wow.
So thank you for that.
What a transformation.
It is. It's two different worlds, but I think I know best of both the worlds.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you for the introduction too. It's really great to be with you here on your show, and thanks for all the great work that you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much.
Right.
All right.
Without you, we need all the practitioners out there to help us, or how are we going to make a big difference in the world, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I hear Dr. Brad say in every interviews and lives that he does that his mission is to reach every individual on this planet, and we are all contributing towards his vision.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely.
One person at a time.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get started on questions. Since I'm the host today, I get to ask you the questions, Dr. Brad. So, Dr. Brad, of course, we've heard about emotion code a lot, but I just want to know, why do you say emotions are the underlying cause for most discomforts and illnesses?
Well, the reason why is because we find so many trapped emotions. We find so much emotional baggage with people. The trapped emotions that we have, and to understand what those are, essentially, the body itself is energy. It's an energy field. And when you're feeling an intense emotion, sometimes the energy of that emotion is too much, and that energy becomes trapped in the body. And so we call that emotional baggage or trapped emotions. And trapped emotions are by far the most common kind of imbalance that we suffer from as human beings. Animals too. It is the number one most common kind of imbalance. Now, getting rid of those helps us to fix a lot of things. I mean, 80% of the problems that people have can be helped dramatically just by removing their emotional baggage.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. But the body code covers the rest of it. Okay, it includes not only trapped emotions, but also all the other kinds of imbalances that we suffer from, whether they might be nutritional or a pathogen or some kind of a misalignment or some disconnection between the spirit and the body or some imbalance in an organ or a gland, whatever it might be. The body code includes everything.
Wow.
And yeah, so.
Amazing. And we've heard you say this term, you've coined the heart wall, as you say. Can you sort of give my viewers a bit more insight into what is a heart wall and why do you believe many people suffer from them without even realizing it?
Well, it goes back really to the 1960s when doctors started doing heart transplants. And before long, patients started coming back to their doctors reporting strange things like how they had developed a new taste in food or sports or music, and sometimes how their handwriting would totally change, or how they had memories that didn't seem to be their own. And in every case, when they were connected with the family of the heart donor, they would find out, well, yes, our daughter visited Rome every year, and so you have memories of being in Rome, but you've never been there in your whole life. That's so strange. You must have her memory.
Wow.
Or they'd say, yes, that's our son's handwriting that you have. How weird is that?
Wow.
And so there are books written about this. It's called cellular memory. Well, the ancients believed that the heart was the seat of the soul and the source of love and creativity and romance and the core of our being. And in Western medicine, we've never really given any attention to those old ideas. But now we're finding that the heart really has more nervous system tissue than muscle tissue. It's much more than just a muscle, a muscular pump. It actually is a brain. And they look at the communications between the brain and the heart, and they find that most of those communications are traveling from the heart to the brain, indicating that the brain that is in our heads is obeying the messages sent by the brain that is within our hearts. And so what we found, in fact, this was something that wouldn't have happened except for my wife, Jean, here, who had a dream about, when was it? About 1998, this was. She had a dream and asked me to help her figure out what the dream meant. And in the middle of this dream, I have this vision where it's hard to describe, but I saw this incredibly beautiful hardwood floor, and underneath the floor is my wife's heart. And it sounds strange, and it was strange for us, right? And we didn't know what it meant.
Of course.
Right.
So
it's giving me goosebumps.
Yeah, we prayed and asked for help and started muscle testing to figure out what it meant. And we found out that her heart was inside of a wall made from layers of her emotional baggage that had been put up as a barrier to protect her heart from being totally broken. And that started at age 2 when she started putting up that wall.
Wow.
And so we came to call that the heart wall. And because the heart really truly is all the ancients believed it to be. It's the seat of the soul, source of love and creativity, romance, everything else. And when you put up a wall around your heart, because at some point in your life, you felt like your heart was going to break, right? And you felt that physical sensation, like there's an elephant sitting on your chest, or maybe like you were choking, like you couldn't breathe because you were really feeling deeply hurt or grieved. Yeah. We've all been through that. I think the vast majority of us anyway have felt that feeling that we call heartbreak. When that's going on, it's like an assault on your heart. And so your heart will put up a wall to protect itself. And the wall is made of your emotional baggage. And so when we remove that baggage, all of a sudden the heart is open again. And people fall in love who never thought they would. People have creative ideas that start to flow again, and amazing things happen when that wall is taken down. And what we find is that about 93% of people have this wall, this heart wall phenomenon. And so getting rid of it is one of the most important things that you can possibly do for yourself. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. It's really helped me a lot to get rid of it.
Beautiful. So what was your experience like? Like he mentioned, you had the emotions going all the way to 2 years of age. So what sort of relief did you feel after the heart wall was released?
Well, when I was a child, I was in a large family. I was the third out of 9 children. And there was always a lot going on at home, a lot of commotion, a lot of personalities clashing, and we had a pretty normal family, really. However, one of my parents was tended to be kind of volatile, and so I think that's why I put up a heart wall. Partly, I think it was partly that, and partly just because of experiences at school and things like that, where I felt like I wasn't being either recognized or acknowledged accurately, or just misinterpretations happen sometimes. We don't feel valued because of one thing or another that happens with another child or a teacher or whatever. I'm sure a lot of it for me was around my home. And, we all get hurt, and I'm a pretty sensitive person. A lot of us are pretty sensitive, and we all get hurt, and so I put up a wall and didn't know that I had put up a wall, but that was something that we discovered through the dream and the vision, you know. So
beautiful. And how did that sort of, like, you know, what happened after the wall was released? Like, what did you experience?
Well, you know, I felt suddenly like I belonged here, like I was a part of everyone.
Wow.
I felt
Incredible.
connected to people. And it used to feel like I was sort of on the outside and sort of an observer to everyone around me. And suddenly I just felt like, hey, I'm just as important as everybody else here, and I'm connected to everyone, and what, you know, the way I see things matters too. I just felt like I was part of everyone, like I was
Beautiful.
you know, and like we were all one. Everyone that
Beautiful.
I was, yeah,
Amazing.
wonderful
Amazing.
feeling. I hadn't felt that for, I don't know, I'm not sure when I lost that ability to feel that, but I remember when I felt it again. I was sitting in a room of, in a meeting actually with a bunch of women, and my heart wall came down, the last of it, and I was in the middle of processing actually. So I wasn't in the middle of a session. It actually was after the session. And it just, you know, suddenly I just felt like, wow, I belong with all these women and I am one of them. And I just felt connected, and like my comments mattered, and like I belonged there. It was really
Beautiful
feeling. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. That's awesome. Going back to Dr. Brad, you mentioned that body code covers most of the other imbalances apart from the emotions itself. We talk about the 6 core imbalances that you think can virtually are responsible for any illness, and these can be addressed naturally through the body code system. Can you talk a little bit more about how the body code system was created and how you know, a person sort of uses it? Oh, I lost you. Okay, while we wait for Dr. Brad and Jean to connect again, I will just wait for them to connect again. Hi, we lost you there.
Sorry, are we back?
You are back, yes.
Okay.
And we are live again. So yeah, I was just talking about the body code. If you can share a little bit more about how the body code was created and how it can help in releasing various imbalances.
Well, sure. When I was in practice, one of the first things that I learned was that the subconscious mind of every individual could be asked, and it could be asked questions and it would respond. You can ask the subconscious any question that you want as long as the answer is yes or no. And so I learned that I could ask that computer system, having been a computer programmer myself before I went to chiropractic school. I found that I could ask questions and get answers, and it worked incredibly well. In fact, during the last 10 years that I was in practice, most of the people that I worked with had been told there was really no help for them at all. And yet by asking their subconscious mind, which has all the answers and knows with a perfect understanding what's really wrong with us, by asking that subconscious mind questions and getting answers, I was able to help the vast majority of all of those people get well, with just a couple of exceptions. And so as time was going on, and as I was working with one patient after another, day after day, month after month, year after year, when I would stumble across something new, I always had a computer right there with me as I was working. And so I was always categorizing things and organizing things so that I was building this knowledge base, really. And we came to call that the body code. So it's just simply a way, the body code is a tool that enables us to ask questions and get answers and drill down very, very rapidly and find out what the imbalances are that somebody is suffering from. You see, what I found during all those years is that it's the imbalances that we suffer from that cause all of our symptoms, whether they're mental or emotional or physical. And so You can have misalignments in the body, and that can create trouble. You can have pathogens in the body, like a virus or bacteria or a parasite or something, and that can cause trouble. You can have, of course, trapped emotions and energies that are in the body that shouldn't be there. That's another category. You can have imbalances in the circuitry or the systems of the body. You can have toxins in the body. You can be deficient in certain things. And so I was able to organize all of those things and put those into this knowledge base. And I was able to use that to help my patients get well. And then when I wrote the emotion code book, and I wrote it first because emotional baggage is such a huge component for so many people. It's the number one kind of imbalance that we have, like I said before. When that book came out, I had this vague idea that eventually I would teach everything else that formed this knowledge base of the body code, probably just to doctors, because I thought, this is really advanced, and they'll understand this, and it will change how they practice and everything else. But then about a year after the emotion code book came out, one morning I woke up and my mind was full of instruction, and the instruction was, you need to take everything that you've learned about natural healing and put it into a self-study course that anyone can learn and make it available to everyone, everywhere.
Absolutely.
And I remember.
And you've done it.
Yeah. I remember thinking, are you sure about this? This sounds like a lot of work. And so it took a year to put the first one together, Body Code 1.0. And then Body Code 2.0 came out. We revised it again in 2013.
That's
and then recently we've done it again.
Yeah, so that's the app Dr. Bradley Nelson is referring to. It's just amazing. I love the new Body Code app. I must say, a lot of work has gone into making it the way it is right now.
Yeah, it was a lot of work for sure.
Yes, and plus you're also.
I did have lots of help.
Yes, and you're also making it available in different languages, isn't it?
Yes, it's available right now in German and Spanish as well as English, and we've redesigned it. And this new one that we have is it's going to make it much easier for us to create even more languages, and so that's a very exciting part of this, because our goal is to get this to the whole entire world as fast as we can, and we're working on it.
You surely are. And I'm helping you, and we all are. I'm sure we are almost like, there are 7,500 certified practitioners now, or more?
It's right around 7,000 certified emotion code practitioners, and I think we're close to 2,000 body code practitioners. Yeah.
Amazing. That's nice. Jean, if I can ask you, now that we know a little bit more about emotion code and body code, can you sort of go through your own journey? Because I know you started 30 years ago, you and Dr. Brad started this journey, and how sort of it has been for you throughout that 30 years?
Well, it was a very spiritual decision to go in this direction, into the healing arts. That was not where we were going at first, and when we felt like we got some guidance about what we were doing, I just never looked back. It was definitely a go, and we really have enjoyed it the whole time. I was home with little kids when he was going through chiropractic school, getting that training, and then once he finished school and started practicing, he was, mentoring under some other doctors for a while. And then when we got into our own practice, I decided to go and help. And so I was working in his office and kind of as his assistant for a number of years, just part-time, so that I could be home with the kids most of the time. But I would go in for, I think the first year or so it was full-time. But then after that, we got some help, and we got other people to help us in the office so that I could be home more. But I was in and out and learning along with him, and we were developing things as we went and gaining more and more understandings. And my job was mostly working in his back office. So, he didn't really understand self-testing, for instance. When we do muscle testing to figure out what the imbalances are with people, we'll do muscle testing. So he would use my arm. I was the surrogate. Oftentimes the patient would be laying flat on a table. We had all kinds of tools that we used during those years, and everything evolved and got simpler and simpler over the years, which is so interesting that, you know, sometimes modalities will get more and more complex, but our goal was to have it be simple.
And it is so. Yeah, I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, and every time he's got some thing going on, he would just open the app and try to sort of play around with it. And just with the images, he'll go everywhere and say, "Oh, I've got this. I'm going to release this." So yeah, even a 4-year-old can do it.
That's true. They
Awesome.
can. They love the pictures and all the colors.
Yeah. Like the beauty is they can't muscle test, but they actually intuitively know, because when I just check, when he says something that, "Mom, go to this picture," I check through muscle testing, it's actually usually right. So, they're quite intuitive at that age.
Wow. So he's the youngest.
He's the youngest, yeah.
Youngest. How old is he? He's 4?
Oh.
Wow.
That's fantastic. Yeah. The youngest child that we knew of up until this point was 5.
Okay.
In Mexico City. But this is your son?
My son, yes.
Yeah.
So he just goes by the images and no muscle testing, but yeah, sure. Just intuitive.
That's really fun. Our youngest is, she's 20, and when she was younger, she used to do everything by intuition too. So that's cool when they do that.
Yeah, and they believe, at this young age, if you can sort of hone that into them, then they don't have to go other paths as they grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's nice. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story, Jean.
Sure. Yeah, and I have to say that the body code has helped me personally tremendously too in my life, just with my own healing. So I am so excited when it can help anyone, because it's really made a difference for me.
What has been one of the most striking sort of imbalances that you've come across, and it has fixed, one of the most chronic issue that you might have experienced or anything?
Wow.
If you're open to sharing, that is.
What would you say?
Well, gosh, I don't know. Let's see.
I know about your morning sickness, though. Dr. Brad has referred about morning sickness.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
That was huge. Brad and I have 7 children together, and I was morning sick with every single one of them, and it was miserable for me. And
we finally figured it out at the end on the last one.
Right. It wasn't just in the morning. It was all day long, every day for months, and such a terrible way to live. In fact, I'm kind of surprised I had as many children as. But yeah, I was so grateful. We were getting ready to go on to a family reunion, and I just thought, there's no way I can travel when I feel like this, And so I just begged. I was like, please, let's figure this out. And we did, figured it out. With the help of
with the help of the higher power,
right.
Where all the answers come from.
Right? Absolutely. And it's such an easy fix. I had morning sickness as well with both my children, just in the morning, though, luckily. And you try everything, but nothing really works. So it's such an easy fix to just sort of fix the brain connections with the fetus.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that alone, there's so many things like that in the body code that are just so incredibly powerful. And that one thing alone, imagine how when that gets out far enough, it's just going to change. It's going to change the world, because think of all of the misery that women have been put through since day one on this planet with morning sickness, when the fix for it is so simple.
Right.
So the cat's out of the bag now. It just has to spread a little more. And
yes, I wish I had known this when I was suffering from it, but a little late now.
We have practitioners in different parts of the world who just specialize in this, using the body code, just fixing morning sickness. And
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I would be thrilled to help women on that. I haven't done any case with morning sickness yet, but a lot of physical pains I've dealt with, and some have had immediate relief, and some have sort of had it after a week or a couple of sessions. But it's gone for good, like the physical pains that they've experienced. So yeah, very grateful for helping them.
Well, after this was shown to us, it really came in response to prayer, how to fix this. It worked immediately for Jean. And so I got really excited. We took out a big ad in the paper. We were doing a morning sickness study, right? And we only had one woman that showed up for the study. Everybody else was too sick, I guess. So
yeah.
So we never really did that study, actually.
Yeah, but it's in there.
But we worked on a lot of women that just came in as patients or friends of ours that got pregnant and were sick, and we always were able to help them, and that was so great. They would always say after they felt better, I'm gonna go get something to eat.
They'd always say the same thing.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Sorry. Going back to the emotion code, Dr. Brad, you've released a new book in 2019 on emotion code, and the revised version actually talks about inherited emotions to quite some extent.
Yes.
Can you sort of share with me on how inherited emotions affect our ability to experience life to the fullest?
Well, yes, absolutely. So what happens to us is that when we're conceived, much of the time we receive emotional energy from mom or dad that they might have received when they were conceived from their mom or dad. And sometimes these inherited emotional energies will go back for many generations. And so what happens to us is that we not only are carrying the emotional baggage that we have developed during our own lifespan from the things that we've been through, but we're also carrying the emotional baggage of our ancestors. And what we find is that when we identify and remove that emotional baggage, some really interesting things about this. Not only does it remove that effect that it's having on you, but it also releases that emotional energy from those ancestors as well. That's what we find on the testing. It's a really interesting thing. So what we know now is that those ancestors of ours, even though they may have been dead for hundreds of years, yet they're very much connected. And so when we remove that emotional baggage, it's releasing from them as well. And we've seen some really amazing things happen with inherited trapped emotions. A lot of the time, people will struggle with things like relationships or money or creating the life they want. And sometimes the biggest piece of baggage that is in their way is something that didn't even happen in their own lifetime. It might have happened 10 or 20 lifetimes ago in the life of one of their ancestors. But the emotion code makes it easy to find that kind of baggage and get rid of it. And it can really be life-changing when you find that kind of baggage and you release it. It can be life-changing, not only for you, but also for those ancestors too, we think.
And we release it from our children as well?
Yes, because basically what happens is when you have an inherited trapped emotion, it's really only one energy, even though it might be shared down the line for 10 or 20 generations or even more. It's really only one energy. And so if you've passed it to your kids and maybe they've had kids and have passed that energy, that grief or terror or whatever to their grandchildren, if you release it from one person in that line, it releases from everybody.
Wow. I think, this should be done for every person who's pregnant. It'll just make the world a better place.
Right.
Excellent. Can either of you share a story or any particular client, case that you might remember where you've released an inherited trapped emotion and, it has just changed the whole world?
Well, yeah, I mean,
the one that Natalie released on you.
Yes, exactly right. And this story, I included this personal story in this new version of the Emotion Code book that came out in 2019. What happened was I asked our daughter Natalie, to work on me one day. And she was about, 1,500 miles or so away from me. I talked to her on the phone, hung up the phone, and she starts working on me. And she finds that I have an inherited trapped emotion of hopelessness, finds out that I got it from my father, he got it from his mother, and she got it from her mother, and it stayed in the mother's line. It went back 22 generations. And when my daughter arrived at that and found out the point of origin of this emotion, all of a sudden she could feel standing right next to her this grandmother that this started with. And she could feel how desperate this woman was to have this released. And she could also feel how overwhelmed with gratitude she was that this was being done. And so when my daughter released this energy, she could feel it ripple through all those ancestors. And it changed my daughter's life, our daughter's life, Natalie, because you see, I had passed that trapped emotion of hopelessness to my daughter. And so she was one of those people that had this unbelievable artistic talent. She's a painter, but she had never painted anything. When that emotion was released, all of a sudden she starts to paint. And within about a year, my wife and I went up to Seattle to an art showing that she put on. And we couldn't believe that all of a sudden all this art was pouring out of her. She's done some of the most amazing paintings and drawings and things. She's got this unbelievable talent. But if that hadn't been released, I think she really would have been somebody who would have gone to the grave and probably taken that talent with her. So if you think about your own life and you think about what your parents might have gone through, I mean, did your parents go through, or your grandparents or your great-grandparents, did they go through something traumatic at some point? I mean, you know, we worked with people whose parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, ancestors were slaves, or went through the Holocaust, or went through pogroms, or were in wars, all kinds of things. And we don't skate by without having some of that experience. It's part of us, but when we find it and release it, then we're free to live our lives unencumbered by that baggage.
Absolutely. How powerful.
Can I share something with you that's very recent?
Sure, absolutely.
Yesterday I had a terrible headache, and I really was miserable. My neck was hurting so bad, and my mid back too was just hurting so bad. And we did some testing and releasing of some various imbalances and found several things. But one of the things that we found was an inherited emotion of betrayal. And it came from my great-grandmother. And my father was a genealogist, and so he did lots of research about his family and has, you know, a book that's like, you know, very thick with all kinds of records of genealogical work that he has done. And the story that he told about this grandmother, it was actually his grandmother. So his dad's mother was that this woman was abandoned by her husband. And so my great-grandfather, in other words, abandoned the family and went off to make his fortune, apparently, and left the family, left this woman with 5 children. And the children were the whole family was so poor that the children would chase after the trains, and they would throw rocks at the train to get somebody to throw back coal at them. And they would gather up the coal and take it home to heat their stove. I mean, it was really sad, you know, and they just were living hand to mouth, and it was really difficult circumstances. She would take in ironing and things like that to buy food. And so this woman felt betrayed, and we just found it yesterday. And I know that this woman has been around me before because I have felt her presence, but she wasn't ready to let it go until yesterday. Yeah. So
amazing.
I'm so grateful that even pain over it, I'm grateful that she was able to let it go and that she was ready. And, you know, life moves on, even if you're a spirit.
That's right.
So powerful. Thank you. Do we have time for a little more? Or?
Sure.
Excellent. Just very quickly, Doctor, I just want to ask you that where do you see EC and BC in the future? Like, you know, considering what the world has been through in 2020 because of the pandemic and everybody just being indoors, can you share your vision on how the emotion code and body code will eventually become part of the, you know, future medicine or be part of the complementary medicine, etc.?
Well, the day is coming when no care will be given to someone who is dealing with a non-traumatic sort of a situation where these modalities won't be used. In other words, if someone has a broken leg or something, then that's a different kind of care. We'll always have acute types of care with medicine. There's always going to be a need for drugs and surgery and so on. But for everything else, this work is going to become the gold standard, I believe, where people will realize that if you take a moment and you ask for some help from up above, and then you use the body code, and you just allow the subconscious mind to talk and tell what it wants to say, and reveal the imbalances that are causing the situation, it's inevitable. The cat is out of the bag. We can't afford any longer to keep doing things the way we've been doing things. It's far too expensive. It's far too ineffective. But now we have these amazing tools, and the body code in particular makes it easy for the subconscious mind to speak. So what we're doing is we're giving the subconscious mind a voice in a very, very simple way, very non-dramatic kind of a way, a very low-tech way, a very inexpensive way, to be able to speak and tell the story of what it really needs. And realizing that the subconscious mind of every single person on the planet knows exactly what's really wrong with them with a perfect understanding. It's inevitable that this is going to shift and change everything in this world. There's no question in my mind about it whatsoever. It's just a matter of time. Cat's out of the bag.
Absolutely. And we're all moving to more intuitive age anyways. Like, I feel the age of information technology is coming to an end, and we are moving towards the intuitive age.
Yeah, I think so too. Absolutely right.
It's wonderful and people be empowered, be able to do something for themselves and realize that they can.
Yeah, that's the most exciting thing about all of this, really, to us, is that empowerment that's happening with individuals. People are taking their health into their own hands. They're taking back the healing birthright that belongs to them, you see. And that's what this work is doing. It's giving that back to everybody. And so, it's really exciting. We've got 10,000 plus testimonials now on our website from people all over the world. We've had so many amazing things happen. Yeah, it's too many to even read, but we have gone through and have pulled out some of the best ones out of there for this new book that we're working on about the body code that'll be coming out this fall.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, that was my next question. When do we expect to see that book, Doctor? But thank you for answering that. Yes, I just have to sort of work out. Fall in your would be somewhere in November, or?
Well, we're not really sure yet. Sometime in the fall. Sometime between probably September and November.
Yeah, because fall for us is probably in 2 months. So I'm just trying to work out fall in US.
Oh, right. Sorry.
All right. Lastly, Doctor, I think I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just want to quickly address a few things with regards to the other certifications that Discover Healing is planning to offer. Like, I know Natalie is working towards sorry, I lost the word there.
Belief code?
Belief code, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when do we see that coming out?
Right. Well, the belief code is on our calendar. Currently, we have 2 levels of certification, and those are available in English and in German. Well, actually, emotion code certification is available in English, German, and Spanish. That's level 1. Level 2 is body code certification, and that's available right now in English. We just finished totally revamping and kind of updating emotion code certification. Our next project is to redo body code certification. That's going to be level 2. It's currently level 2, but we're going to be revamping it. We're going to be coming out with 2 more levels of certification ultimately. We're hoping to have both of these done by the end of 2021. We'll have level 3 certification is going to be the belief code, which is a method of finding and removing negative belief systems and faulty belief systems. We're going to be
helping to create positive
and exactly creating
right?
new ones, because everything is energy, and you can find these and identify these and put in new ones and so on. So that's the belief code. And then the level 4 certification, we're not sure exactly what it's going to be called yet, probably healing mastery, something like that. That'll be level 4 certification. So ultimately we'll have those 4 levels, and people will be able to climb the ladder and go through all of those levels of certification and come out at the top and really have a great handle on the whole constellation of things that we're doing. So we're really excited about that. That's happening this year.
Very exciting. I look forward to that. I would love to become a master healer once everything's out and available. So thank you for that. I think that's really all the questions I had for you today. I'm so grateful again for both of you to join me and share your thoughts and wise words with our viewers and give us a sneak peek at what's happening at Discover Healing. And I really want to thank you, Jean, Josh, and Natalie Nelson for giving this amazing tool for all of us and the Discover Healing team as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harsiddhi. Thank you for your time, and God bless you for all the great work that you're doing. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And do you have any ways for the viewers to connect with you, or you've already talked about the certification, but if they want to reach you, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, the best way to reach us is just go to discoverhealing.com and just click on the support button, and then you can submit a ticket. And if you have a specific question for Jean or for me, you can just send it in.
Excellent. All right. And for anybody who would like to get in touch with me, please follow on my Facebook page at MpowerU Wellness. I do resonate with your idea that the body code is supposed to empower, and that's why I've called my business MpowerU. So yes, thank you for that.
I like it a lot.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you,
Thank
Harsiddhi.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.